All right, wanted to just do a short video just comparing two of my clients doing a kickstand hinge. We've got Matt on the left here who isn't doing it great, and we've got Aya on the right here who's not doing it perfect, who's definitely doing it better. So if we think about a kickstand hinge, I think the goals are to open up space in the hip, open up a lot of hip internal rotation, and teach the body to go into hip extension using the glute rather than the low back and the hamstring. So if you see Matt here on the left, I'll just start playing it. The first thing you'll see is his setup position. So you can see he's set up with his mass all behind his foot. So if we draw a line from his hip bone all the way down to the ground, it's going to be behind his heel. So already he's starting behind. If we let the video play, we'll see him going back and he's going forward. And you'll see that it's not really a hip hinge. Like you see that the first thing that moves is actually his bum kind of getting stuck. It's not the bum moving first. So if you watch his hip here in relation to the side of the edge of the camera, and then the first thing to move is actually his back, and his hips just staying in the same spot. So it ends up being more of just like a standing up motion and him pulling with the hamstrings and the back rather than the goal of the exercise, which is to push through into hip extension using the glute. So if we think about the two things we want to get out of this exercise, he's not really opening up any hip internal rotation. And number two, he's not pushing through with his glute. So just watch it again, and it gets stuck and pushes through. No good. So if we watch on the right here, my other client, Aya, and we can see that he's setting up in a better position. So more of his mass is over the top of the mid part of the foot. So it's not perfect. He's probably in line with the front of the heel or something, but we can see that he's over the top of his midfoot, which is a good start. If we play the clip, so he's going back okay. And yeah, so if you see, like, again, not perfect, but if you look at the first thing to move, the first thing to move looks like it's his hip, his left hip. And if we had this angle from behind, you would see that his right hip is dropping down a little bit to create space in the back of the left hip to open up some internal rotation. So if we slow this down a lot, there, and the first thing to move we can see is his bum. We can see that the bum is getting away from this little bar here. And the only thing he's just got to clean up a little bit is just moving his knee. You can see that was a good rep there, but you can see his knee is just sliding back a tiny bit before or as he starts to push through. So that's going to contribute to more of that like standing up motion, which is not what we want. We just want the hip pushing through. So one thing you can clean up here a little bit is just to make sure he's just not moving his knee, but he's doing a really good job of keeping his weight over the mid part of the foot and getting the hip to move first. So takeaways from the video, number one, make sure you're just setting up with the center of mass over the mid part of the foot. And number two, just get a camera out and just set it up on a side angle like we have here to make sure you can see the hip moving first and the knee staying in the same spot.